This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all. I'm Megan Shepard. It's so great to have you with us. Grand Bahamas tourism industry to get a boost as this island is the site of yet another major conference. The conclave is designed to attract officials from around the world that are involved in one of the most lucrative markets in the region. In just under 2 weeks, the Bahamas Bonefish Conference, organized by the Fisheries Conservation Foundation, H2O Bonefishing and North Riding Points Club, will gather under the theme, Developing a Strategy for Research and Conservation. Chairman of the foundation, Dr. David Phillips, says that it is a continuation of a series interactions with Bahamian guides, lodge owners, anglers, tourism, and fisheries over the past 12 years. As periodically Bonefish's researchers and specialists gather to share their recent studies and new information on the species.
The first afternoon is summarize what we know and what we don't know, and then talk to the guides, get trade back information, etc., and then try to figure out what everyone here feels is the number one priorities to still do research on. And from that, we will devise our next 3 to 5 year research plan that involves working with scientists, and we'll probably have 6 to 8 of the scientists that have worked in the Bahamas over the last 10 years here.
Lodge owners throughout the Bahamas will also attend the conference to lend their local knowledge and logistical support. Nuvolari Chudasing, manager of niche markets and maritime tourism in Grand Bahama, says that the Ministry of Tourism is pleased to lend its support to the Bahamas Bonefish Conference.
Bonefishing is a major niche market for the Ministry of Tourism, as it represents an economic impact in the country anywhere between $300 and $500 million. And the beauty of it is it still has much more room to grow. But with that growth comes great responsibility. We need to ensure that we have trained fishing guides, and also everybody involved in this industry must have an understanding and knowledge of the latest information on bonefishing in the country.
The Bahamas Bonefish Conference will be held August 28th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. and on the 29th from 8 a.m. to noon at Pelican Bay. As the island prepares for an economic revival and potential investors, a local parliamentarian is giving his take on the state of the nation's second city and its inability to evolve. This candid interview is a part of our series titled Grand Bahama's Dilemma, From Magic City to Eyesore. The Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge, Frederick McAlpine, weighing in on the current state of Grand Bahama's deteriorating appearance. He says that the island was a beautiful place back in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. But he describes present-day Grand Bahama as filthy and resembling a ghetto. The cause, he says, the increasing number of dilapidated buildings throughout the island.
Clean the place up. Cut the grass. Get the sidewalks looking manicured again. Clean the streets. I've never known Freeport, proper Grand Bahama, to be so filthy, so dirty. And I want to encourage the citizens, don't encourage this mess by putting your mess on the streets, okay? You're driving in your car, you're just throwing bottles out, trash. Come on, it's all of our responsibility.
The parliamentarian says that residents are calling for economic revival and investors, but Grand Bahama must be visually appealing and in a presentable state. He adds that this island, formerly known as the Magic City, is rapidly being surpassed by other family islands throughout the country.
Once we could clean it up, then perhaps we could then talk about having a vision for Grand Bahama. But right now we're putting the cart before the horse. We want investors, we want tourists, but the place is filthy. Nobody wants to invite anybody to their homes and it's filthy. And right now Grand Bahama is filthy. You know, we used to, Megan, to describe Grand Bahama as the second city. The question now, are we? When I compare myself now to Abaco, and Exuma and Bimini, are we really the second city?
McAlpine says he has championed the cause regarding the state of Grand Bahama in the House of Assembly, but admits that the Grand Bahama Port Authority holds a great deal of responsibility for the maintenance for the city of Freeport.
You have rules for these such situations as it relates to abandoned buildings and derelict buildings. Enforce it. Please, the people of Grand Bahama want you to enforce it. The people of Grand Bahama want you to tear the buildings down. Let's make these areas a green space and give them a warning. Tell the owners of this building, you got 30 days to either fix this building or it will be torn down. We do it to the common man, so why not do it to these people who have these large buildings in the city of Freeport? We want to see vision for Grand Bahama, and if there is a vision from the Port Authority, we'd like to know what it is.
A noted attorney weighing in on a regulation he believes is stifling the Grand Bahama economy. Tonight, he is calling for changes to be made so that the entire island of Grand Bahama can flourish. Shashina Roll reports.
Noted attorney and community activist Fred Smith says that businesses on the outlying settlements of Grand Bahama are suffering simply because of some rules and regulations that need to change. He says it makes absolutely no sense that bonded vehicles cannot travel outside of the area of Freeport because of signs like this one. Smith says that the government needs to take a good look at the expired provisions in the Hawksbill Creek Agreement and reapply them to Grand Bahama and not just Freeport.
What's the sense in having Smith Point or Russelltown have all these good little Bahamian restaurants and bars, but 99.99% of the population in Freeport can't take their car there? So what is it? So we as Bahamians have a rule to prevent the most affluent parts of our community from spending in the most desirable and necessary economic areas.
He says it is regulations like these that creates a challenge for this island.
So those are the kind of simple little things could transform Smith Point, could transform Russelltown by having hundreds of Bahamians and foreigners going to those communities at night, on the weekends, etc. Why must I park my car a half a mile out of Smith Point because it's bonded before I can walk in there to buy some fish or to buy a beer?
Smith is convinced that a restriction like this one also helps to stifle this already ailing economy.
Well, the more you control, the less growth you have, and the more people leave, and the less desirable a business environment it is. And that's why you have the Grand Lucayan Hotel that's almost dysfunctional. That's why over in Miami and South Florida, you have hundreds of marinas that are chock-a-block full of, small of pleasure craft, and yet in Port Lucaya, it's empty. So we have to realize that we have a treasure trove of opportunities here, and we have been shooting ourselves in the foot.
This leading attorney says it is time to get rid of these counterproductive rules, laws, and regulations so that this island can thrive and the magic can return back to the city. Shashina Roll, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. There's more news right after this.